Hello, welcome to Spotlight on the Word. My name is Derek Danso, and today I'm here with Michael Anan Kasukusi. Michael, Emokwaba.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Apumwe.
Nyankopo Adaroma, Bibia Eboko.
Danyami.
And yeshia, yesanso yeshia bio, and last weekend to me, any enuanoma and share nim komo. Ene adisiano, the 31st night issue. The 31st night issue. Answer cry no bia wo asem bia wo be catch adofo ansa na ya hye nkomo na se ya nche cry e body tew enti se bibi wo be catch o ansa na ya hye nkomo na se a obetimi akasa che.
Oh, the American say the obi bia say obi bia a wadwan ne ene dey say yen discuss one or two issues about 31st night no. Yen so say with me anya brena wadwan ne. Ne mom the best ne say woni ensua de na link no so onya share ma afoforo na won so ombadwan na nyina and discuss this particular issue. And pemp, some of these things, no, amount for be feel say whom we answer be discuss it. But I believe say looking at the way it is, no, a very important say you be make some comment and I be some discussions with the Bible as our guide. Say the be a beti ne maybe I say a basa 31st night meeting see. Na fi de nyina ate ho ase e wo nyame ase mu. So
Okay. Yeah, that's a pa sa comment out there my no. And enianom ne adofonom say afei na won so be ka yen sa ye be share so be bomodia na be distribute video no share o click share button na e betumi akwa afoforo honom na ye nyina yesua de. Enti sene ye kan no the 31st night issue. Why would we want to talk about this? In no time maybe sir Minia Michael na ye die no ho nkomo say 31st night issue no den na adenti na wo say ye gibre ni esua ho ade eno na enne ye ba be nti say me wo Facebook sisie ya and me hwe na ma share ama foforo afei nso say wo YouTube nso a won so betumi ahwe wo honom na wa share nso ama foforo on YouTube nti just now on Facebook or on YouTube o copy link na odi ama afoforo nti Michael say why you ready tell us okay me Mike Nyanya ready so you ready mema no abekasa afa the onono from his side no why he thinks this lesson is very necessary but on my part I think say ye hwe sa issue ya ye ka say 31st night issue na especially if you're a member of the Lost Church Oko Church of Christ in Kwandia ebia what is sa nkomo we say eda say all the time when it comes to this point in the year now, it's a bit intense for some families because in a particular family, we'll say sometimes the father will go like me and the main person sorry, especially in the evening, make a watch night, no, or say me person now ebi ankwara say me the person church, or say me person church, and it becomes heated sometimes, and I've gotten calls I think sometime past, I got some calls from some families asking, say, okay, we want to go to church, but our dad says there be a 31st night there. I didn't know what say a sorry, and he say a sorry, and some of the arguments are mostly raising within the church, and they be home come work sepano. Two main areas. But I could say there be any say ye share because 31st December is not actually the end of the year. In say near the end of the year, why do you necessarily have to meet and say yeah end the year and they pick the argument from the Old Testament to say in the Jewish calendar the month of December is the month of Chislev, which is not the end of the year in that calendar. Inti ono wakase wanyankopon anim and calendar system now in Exodus chapter 12 Nyankopon ka che Israelfo say na mon hwehwe mon na no enti enuanum bi gina so ka say okay based on that say Nyankopon e ka say na mon hwehwe mon na enti no that is the actual calendar the whole world must use enti say eno no hwehwe sa calendar na say December 31st enye the end of the year which is in the Jewish calendar no the month of Chislev and no na the end of the calendar year no. Internet ne sadia any other thing I say year ne ending. And that is one argument. And the other one also says that when you look at the history, there was some history back in it, and that history suggests that it's not supposed to be the case. Say, it can say Christopher, because especially in the church in this country in Ghana, bra church in the Shasi, who say na we share 31st night, why are you then introducing this now? So don't do it. And there's another school of thought also saying, oh no, to some congregations, it's a time they get together, they meet to discuss the year in review, they review the year. Inti also say any sanity. Inti almost every time it becomes very heated. And even before doing this video, one of my friends, share me church, beside me say, and the 31st night, and then 31st, so it falls within the perfect time. Say you better discuss here in common way. Say, and madam for beside me say, okay, today is 31st, and we saw ma because I have a catcher say and I was like, hey, have you listened to my explanation on and Okasana or person say he I have a school of thought said that be. But the question is that what does the Bible say? And then a Bible it can specifically if sa enkomo we say inti eno na the most important thing say how would we know say bibia ye ewo kristosumu ene no so etwase ye anase enise ye especially with the first argument second argument in your can say remember ye share because it has a certain history and that history na diabano how do you see it? When the church started in Ghana, it wasn't there. Now we are doing it. Does that make it wrong biblically? Does it make it wrong? Say, ya kwetia de nyankopon asema kana. Ena de de ba no e ade a ye de asesa nyankopon asema na. I'm raising some of these questions because when you are discussing this issue, I know it's sensitive, so it's good you think about the questions that I'm asking. Now I say so sanity and not sanity. So one of my questions they say, into the fact say, who or church at the start, I mean in Ghana, say name share in the evenings, a bonfire on 31st. No? Does it make it biblically wrong? Say Obibia, baby a Church of Christ will be a mushia on the 31st in Numere and I just a more bonfire ma dear chena. And no my young from so Bible quite swana. And no some international mission Bible. Me who sa no ye ni say ane wa yen from so dabi enya sa na Bible me kire if you say ye bit asafunu ebetimi decide ahia ka say okay nuanom ye pese ye hia na ye bom paye on 21st 22nd inform so bia ni ye bese ye bom paye na dwunu nyina inform so bia ni enimu ti adenti na say be 31st December dia e man ye boni. I think say I know why sometimes this comes up because senior ye mududu na ye approach this topic of 31st night no obi say the fact say denomination for share 31st night watch night now also Church of Christ ni kwa share December 31st nkwa de ene o ye de denomination for ye me pacho o fasa angle na ubeti adinti na make kanisa ubeti if say 24th 25th December a holiday. I think 25th, normally 23rd, 24th, 25th. Most people don't go to work. Me come on, yeah, buy jumane. Afono, mumu do na nkwa juma sa amren. It is okay. Some of our popular Bible camps are ye wo Ghana has within the churches of Christ now. Ye tai shiem sa abren. Me kai bra mi so I attended almost every single Bible camp by I think of Chrome Church na organize it. I don't remember the exactly, but I mean say that Cosmos, Mr. Harrison or being there Bramo, or no very active in this. And so I'm guessing say by then they were still the organizers. And now this year they organized it to I think 36th or 38th annual Bible camp. And it happens within this time. Denominations in so-called camping. Does it mean say ye team? Biblically, we are wrong because some denominations are meeting and we are also meeting, so we are wrong. That argument doesn't hold. Argument doesn't hold. And let me also state, say, if I disagree with somebody you know on an issue, it doesn't mean say don't listen to everything that I'm saying. Maybe as we go through the lesson, you understand from a more biblical point of view why we are holding this position. So my point is that 31st night sɛ yɛhyia mu sɛ yɛbɔ mpaeɛ ada Nyankopɔn ase deɛ wayɛ ama yɛ afe no mu nyinaa yɛnyɛ mfomsoɔ yɛnti a Bible mmara. Sɛ congregation bi decide sɛ for one reason or the other ɔnhyia ɛmmɔ mpaeɛ te sɛ ɔha evening service that is fine. It's a spiritual exercise. Okay, if a congregation decides not to do it, it's fine. But if a congregation decides to do it too, it's also okay. But I was here and within this period. And let me say this before, say, Minya Michael Bebana Yedin Komona to us say, so to me, Kase, and the Yawa church, me trobi biwo, me notes mu say. Sometimes some people say, oh, na say 31st night and something special be and this special be and I didn't know as a more stressing too much and anything special. I beg to differ. Even if you don't admit it, okay? Even if you don't admit it, say, I don't think 31st night is anything. I don't think 31st December is nothing. And sorry, the nature of a Juma I've been working, so I didn't even realize we are even in the weekend until I wanted to do something. I'm checking, hey, today is even Saturday. Depending on a Juma, so when you'll be our office 8 to 5 now call banner. One way you lose track of the days. I just checked the calendar. I was like, oh, okay. So next week is 2024. It's a normal day for everybody. We are all good. But 31st December, entering a new year, it holds a special place in the heart of so many people. And Upetimaka say, oh, 31st December, and shada. But you see you know things. Yeah, I had to say, it's natural. It's natural. But how we react towards this particular day, you know, and know sometimes it might be more to me, I can say, any sadia, and from Swana say. But popular argument I mentioned training. Michael is here. We are going to take them step by step. We'll go through them, we'll discuss them. I know Michael holds his own view, and so I wish he holds an opposite view to mine. Now I'm common in the power, but I don't know whichever view he has. And Minya, so I already your name come on.
Yeah, quite.
Yes. My main cancer of force say so it's about the Church of Christ, and not just the Church of Christ. Denominations but chiefly it's about the Church of Christ. And to say put in a comment. Please drop your comment, drop your if it's a question, it's anything. If you disagree with us on anything, please feel free to put it there. We are not going to skip your comment. We will read a comment, we will address the comment. So if you think there's something we say that is opposite to what you know, we are having a wonderful conversation. No hard feelings. We are brothers, we are sisters. Let's have a beautiful conversation today. Michael, I hope you hold an opposite view to mine. If your view is biblical, I think you agree with me. Okay, let's go, Michael.
I don't know what will tempt me.
Oh, men tempt you.
Okay. So the Odi Kankai, I think I'll begin from maybe I will end here, about the specialty of that day,
Yeah.
As you all know, when you read Genesis chapter 1, verse 12 ebana.
Yeah.
Do you Yankopon 14 ebana. Or see, then God said, let there be light
In the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night.
Of the heavens to night, and let them be for signs and seasons and for days and years. And also as you can say, and let them be for light in the firmament of the heavens to give light on earth, and it was so. Nti the America or sa particular way no verse then say said ya wudi kan no and na months and na years no and na afe no Nyankopon and a boy what you are saying naturally no God created those things, and I believe say let's just think about it. Can you imagine that we are living this life? There is nothing like a day. There's nothing like another day ends. There's nothing like months. There is a month. Say there are 30 days in a month and not 28 days in a month. There's nothing like that. And then there is nothing like years. And when I say zoom you see, I believe say Onyankopon nyansa mo no onim say sa enema yi ebehia in terms of the way we organize ourselves as human beings. What you say? Enti no Onyankopon e even moon, stars, and those things no eno na ma ebenya sa days, seasons, and years no. What you say? Enti naturally inside your kind no these things will be there. And so if this is today, say adichia you have a sense that this is another day or this is a new day. Sana week and you feel like we've entered into a new week. Sana nusu free wa am I also feel it you bosome futromu. Sana if the month also eba besia, you feel that we've entered a new year. Now what I see is that the significance of sa eneme, you know, to say yakasa new month, even sometimes when a month is going to end for a new month to start, how do you feel? What is the feeling? It brings some form of kind of newness. People feel like, oh, September.
Yes, this is what I was saying, say, and that is why I always I pray people do not downplay other people's thought about this. Say, who say Obu Onoma, you run new month now, sending or send people like doing that, or sending happy new month. People get annoyed. Obi put to me for say they're not happy new month. They're not anything. They don't if the person see young person or you can, you know. God gave us these signs to help us know days, months, seasons. So if somebody acknowledges it, so who acknowledge be is it tolerable to the extent say tolerant. That's Ghana for you was asked oh na say we enye now as it what for the chinchine do. But nipa no yen so onye hwe like enye hwe.
Yeah. And the person me chere say san neme no on say ade Nyankopon boy nyina no obo mayen obo san neme yi to say this season obo mayen ho. And it's for the purpose of our organization as human beings on this earth no Nyankopon e dey san neme no ma. And naturally no say they would in kan no if there is a new day people feel like oh another opportunity, a new day has dawned. I can go out and do what I was able to do yesterday. New month, same new month, new week, the same thing. It's the same thing. I almost carry on even to the new year. Naturally, that is how human beings have that kind of attachment to those things. But baby, I made an opposite view to what the end say. Special, and say, I can say, then special. Mete their old channels say, Obi wa to or no. Ebia in 2023 and name is nyina na ohunu say by 31st no na yira 2024 mu, and by the fact that say ye recognize this month, days and things no ohunu say okay if I'm starting 1st January again 2024 dia and mera afifufro and based on name eto no ntino or expect or hope say and never be out different in the other year into or no to say pano ebe say bibia special to or no but there was a yes yema amount for who say special no nkyere say and I was say ewe ya adwumu say the fact say 31st night no enra make us asem no during our Bible discussion on the spotlight yes the make any say the fact say 31st no nkyere say automatically no say Onyankopon betie wo mpa ebo bia ni su no asesa and automatically no yes enti say special na ye adwen ho dia then I think say it is mistaken because said the medical kind of sa near me on Yankopon born my yenipa. On Yankopon the ultim hoda, say a few, say Busumio, said the Yankopon the ho. Now or here say a bay the on Yankopon say, yenye. Ain't the fact say 31st no, and just a sad day no, say, oh bompa ye pan, things will turn out different. Say sad day no, wusu and I will turn yum, will confess it. So one time call evening service. Now Saturday no one day you make it to evening service. In the 2024 no. And then no. If that is the mentality that we have with some of these things, yeah, and then they're wrong. But I say to hold that as that view, yeah, and then they're wrong. But said the Odi can come and also yeah, I say for Obino looking at naturally as human beings said they calculated days and months, you know. Say 31st year last year of the month, yeah, the year, yeah. And yet, not to some people, no, it's a special thing. Say, a few way you query, you ra a few from more, and that is all that there is to it.
I appreciate that. I think we don't disagree. You said this. I perfectly agree with you. I just wrote something down. Say special blessings on that day. Unfortunately, and a church, no, we had omoko high church in Pobekam. You know, and I appreciate a comment from your preacher or Kasa and our church, Mr. Emmanuel Biafo. He said he won't hide it from any of them. Why some people, like you said, have this understanding, say on 31st, you know, say me quite sorry, there's some special blessing there, wrong. And we have to be frank with anybody listening. Say, and you know, correct. Say, sorry. 31st now, sorry. That day need some special blessing. You or what? It's and say, oh, the Santias, and we'll be disappointed if you say, yes, I'm a coupon or any Juma. On them, some magic one be no pijana, Harry Potter. Oh, time I open now, I can, and yes, I'm a I agree with you 100% on that.
Now, second part in the year, Galatians chapter 4, verse 10. No? Galatians chapter 4, verse 10. Most of the time we start discussion, no? People bring in some of these verses to help us understand why they are saying what they say. For instance, Paul can say, you observe this and months and seasons and years. I am afraid for you, lest I have labored for you in vain. With the little me about most of the Paul churches, no, either in the issue of the Galatians and other in the issue of the Colossians in Colossians chapter 2 verse 16. No, what I have studied, little studies now me want to say. I believe that this is not in direct teachings about whether if people will meet on New Year or not, but rather some days that were being observed, taking into mind the kind of people that were in this congregation. Some had Jewish backgrounds where they observed the Passover, the different feasts that were given to them. What do I say? Just to sound a warning to them, say they have been delivered from that kind of osomono to onyankopon doba ahini numu. Na enumu no onyankopon fa saa nema no ema omo say omo observing saa way no. Enti that is why Paul was drawing the attention. We Jews for the no free mu a Gentiles no so no as pagans no omo so omo enane nema bi omo ya and also they hold dear to themselves, and they have also come into Christianity. And so ni nyina mu no e was a Paul bomb kokko say Sunday me they making sure say we don't go and take these things and continue observing these things to whichever purpose or whichever entity or deity that we are doing those things to. For most of our brethren that will mention the observance of these things and will vehemently oppose it, will use some of these verses. Now my point is that we should be careful, because to overstretch these verses will be that we are taking the verses out of context. What you say, and I like what you have spoken about in that say you can New Year and I said so be meet you, so be meet you. So far as a church can decide, say we have weekday activities in the middle of the week. Yebeshia na ya say no. If say sadia no in the end no, sadia no in quote, enko nti onyankopon asem, and it's for the purpose of edification of the brethren. Then it will be very difficult say obekwa ko two verse bi every Bible mu e de abeka che nipa ne say Paul say ma enye say ni no, and what say we yes no. So let us be careful when we come to using some of these verses. So there is a background and a context to these verses that I have mentioned. Galatians chapter 4 verse 10 and also Colossians chapter 2 verse 16. We can even go as further to Romans chapter 14 also from the verse 5 to 17. But I think the emphasis is not really discussing those verses. But may count these verses edit and say when we are near and verses say yeah in be ejina so. But the entire person most people will use these verses when it comes to discussion about Christmas. And to me, I think that they are perfectly right to use these verses to help explain things better to people. Do you get it? Because, of course, Christmas once a month. There was some religious backing and religious connotations to the fact that fire to your say, yeah. Well, and no sound you can use this verse to explain to people say what the son man be shake Christus Paul catch and my yesa. Well, but to say ebia enuanu bi so mo be share 31st. No ma bonfire no. Well, I don't see how that is like the Christmas. I always tell say let us try and separate that discussion of Christmas from that 31st night meetings now amount for a meeting or said you bet me discuss issues ni and yes I okay can in the end no, because to be frank me who say obi ka say me call 31st akobon pa esan say ye wo Christo ana ebia BBC like no one is making allusion to any biblical doctrine or whatever with regards to that. But the any man say said you kind no afe ne be kwa ewie enti ye ni pay no amanfo hu no say e wo say ye hyemu na ye do onyankopon ase na the overarching purpose no say ye hyemu ado onyankopon ase no and na say the wudi kan kai no eno nya de bone, but of course say ye be hyemu no na de ye be ye no enye de oni onyankopon asem be kode a eno na be ma ade na ye be de abeye bone. I think these are some of the comments I want to.
Some very good. I want to touch on some of the things you mentioned, a few of them, and I can see we have some comments. Like I said, please, you can also send in your comments. The conversation, we are all having this conversation, so please try and do that. You can send in a comment, a question, and Michael, let me talk to our audience. We appreciate you so much. Sometimes when it comes to conversations like this, people don't want to comment because they feel if they say something that is opposite to what maybe we are saying, feel like I say, oh no, this don't worry, it's Bible conversation. Yeah, Bible at the channel is yeah. If you disagree, and let's learn. You get it? And if you agree to, don't be shy to also state that you agree with it. One thing I've learned from some preachers, they say whenever difficult or controversial topics comes up, they don't want to be part of the conversation because one here now but the Bible side is what we need to take all the time. So in these issues, I encourage you, please, whenever there's an issue, look at the Bible position, take the Bible position, and don't be scared to tell people. You get it? Yes. So Michael, back to the conversation. You mentioned Galatians 4 verse 10. I think mostly people contrast this verse with the one I just put on the screen. Romans 14 verse 4. You see, I've seen two parts of this argument where people overstretch Galatians and people downplay Romans 14.
Yes.
Either we pull Galatians 4 verse 10 too much, or we don't even look at what Romans 14:4 is saying when it comes to conversations like this. So let's look at the two passages. Galatians 4 verse 10, we read it right now when you made us read. I'll say, you observe days and months and seasons and years. 11. I am afraid for you, lest I have labored for you in vain. Until then they conclude, like he said, say, hey, once you are meeting on 31st now, you're observing days. So Paul says he has labored for you in vain, you are sinning. Relax, you are yes, you are rushing. I didn't think America saw yes, you are rushing. We know when it comes to Bible study, you have to look at what is happening. Why is this conversation happening in context? Verse 8 would tell us, even the chapter 4, the book of Galatians itself deals with the Jewish law and the Christian. Justification by faith, justification by the law. So these Jews, from verse 8, he says this, but then, indeed, when you did not know God, you served those which by nature are not gods. But now, after you have known God, or rather are known by God, how is it that you turn again to the weak and beggarly element to which you desire again to be in bondage? Verse 10, you observe days and months and seasons and years. So like you gave us the two explanations, one with the Gentile and the second with the Jew. On the Jews' part, when they were Jews, they had so many rites of purifications, like festivals.
Yeah.
And even when they became Christians, some of them were insisting that they are justified by that law,
Exactly.
by those
By
celebrations. I was
performing
say
may say by performing those things.
yes, by performing those things. But here Paul tells them, say, no, you are no longer under that anymore. What I say? But won't it surprise us to know, say the same Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 8. Let's look at what Paul did. Pentecost, wasn't it a Jewish celebration? But we see Paul going there. 1 Corinthians 16, verse 8. Let's see. 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 8. The Bible says this. But I would tarry in Ephesus until Pentecost. By this, it could mean he was not actively taking part or he was going to be there. But one thing we know is that a Jew amamre, I had to say, Michael, I had to say, Oya Santini. Now, akwesida ana hobechocho bia o celebrate bia hobechocho homowo menkai sa nyoman wo de ne de
me nim festival me krom de yes me krom de no cry can say me refi wo de me kaya me text mo on Facebook
yo refi yesu refi ukrom hene chini ya o yera wo dwaba ase. So what I'm trying to say is, culturally, no, as an Asante man, there were some festivals where almost celebrating in your culture. The fact that I acknowledge that day doesn't mean say maybe I agree with all the details of the things they do. But so ya Santini and catch said that way do na men go a fool, won't go a fool out of respect. What you say? Then I may person me chair. Ya wa ade a culture. Say and say Yankopon asema yen tontwene. What you say? In that same sense, no, say heard the Jew for it was about justification. They were being justified by that. And Paul cast them. But this same Paul, through inspiration, tells us in Romans 14, verse 4. And I don't want us to downplay this verse because mostly in our discussion on Christmas, we'll be beside a question way. Or say, who are you to judge another's servant? To his own master he stands or falls. Indeed, he will be made to stand, for God is able to make him stand. Verse 5. One person esteems one day above another, another esteems every day alike. Let each be fully convinced in his own mind. And normally, no, Brian, Christmas conversation now, will be cover a question way by me catch say yenko kind verse 1. In 2 kind verse 1, I'll say, receive one who is weak in the faith, but not to dispute over doubtful things. For one believes he may eat all things, but he who is weak eats only vegetables. Let not him who eats despise him who does not eat, and let not him who does not eat judge him who eats, for God has received him. It has a explanation in the Christmas conversation that me making say, this is talking about one, yabedu levels of faith, yabedu krisosumuno. Nyema for example, to say obi a cremoni rape pork. Say onyankopon ye wadom na Michael to ne kasa na obeye Kristoni a men force ne so nkonkore pork. Ko wa anya careful abetu ni sintudua. And na say sa nipa ne ba ofie me pork pa. Na say nipa ne be hu say me rape pork. Ebetimi ato ni sintudua. Enti sa minua no nti no e ho no me rape pork no. But eno nso nkyere say minua no me nkyere mu nkyere say o rape pork a wonye ebone.
Exactly.
Enti eyen kakra minua what you say na ya catch it. Enti that is the conversation happening here. Say you need to look at the situation. And yesterday you made a comment on your WhatsApp page. So expediency. You have to be expedient about it. But in this chapter, yeah, kind of idea nyankopon asemaka. Enye no ho asem ye ka wa ha. Say nyankopon say opese onyankwaja e was so such a wadu me ebo so say dabi. Me enya sa na and yet, no, na Paul can answer first Romans chapter 14. For example, ye baby shame kwesiada Michael, ye pese ye fa erade didi anopa. And I will say that be mo pese mo fa mo die numre. Me say, hey, why am from so? Oh, dabi. Say anopo, say numre. Once a first of the week ni die. Eyo. And untina okay brave ye twem 31st night ko see ahomache. Eno ye bedi ho nkomo
ye be kan wa
se ko si ahomache ena ebi mu ka say eh ene e ko follow up there bi e first day of the week nko ade a bra wo de fa erade didi no e irrelevant say amopo ye wie once it is within that first day of the week no yankopon asem embra enti I think say ya disuamu ne Bible disuamu say ya hye sa ne ma we bi sometimes ye betwe asem ne twan bo say be wie no ne yeti enti meme dia me come from two passages no both Galatians 4 verse 10 no and Romans 14 no and you say yen careful say ye kire sa two verses we mu and like we said 31st night no say e budi nyankopon asem aka so a na yaka say hey nuanom ene mon twen ba say embu nyame mra so dia ene na me hu ne say obetimi akoso aye Michael pese o ka bibi pa chokasa
kakra me de beka ho no say on say sa verse no o discuss sa ne many wie no all conclusion in verse 15 no can say yet if your brother is grieved because of your food you are no longer walking in love. Yeah, honestly, do not destroy with your food the one for whom Christ died. Therefore, do not let your good be spoken of as evil. And you also caution wo said they are church as no but no nya ne tran say internet say bibia ye pe bia e betimi aye what do I say one say enrana ye can about experience loss up na we example say no for instance obisi ye nya na wia obisi ye na numbe obisi ye no anopa. Now the question is the experience na ebeba in this discussion mu say ye hwia ye no say ye no at every time now we have obeyed the commandment, but in terms of experience emu de ehe and ebeye advantageous to brethren said the ebeye a esan say me dia me paint no ma yakofa no at a point a ebeye difficult say other brethren and nanka was so partake no wow omuntimi enti we hear Hannah and Paul can say sometimes no do beka say said ya watch church mu say kramosumo there no I think it's a perfect example, but my point is that o church mu kodru baby I was say ni party asen so say no nchire say obetimi aka say because enti me ye dia me pe bia no it must still be within the confines and the laws of Onyankopon asem. Nti enya no an say Paul ka say dia e pe bia e betimi aye debi
when the okay last year the na o kan me kai say congregation bi omo fa loss up no ahomache sa ena ye me ma nkwa no nti daytime senior ye kwai ye tena was a manfo ma what to be seen to the person family where did and I get you say it's like you said yet no I was say careful say yenkoya dia afi yebewie no na abeto amanfo bebre so sintidia. But you see, that is where the conversation gets interesting. Say the church should have a conversation about it. Oftentimes,
Exactly.
they make me say in congregations are issues about 31st night. Mostly, no leaders need decide. Not leaders, now make committee leaders, make elders.
Yeah.
Committee leaders decide. No, about or they are better as a family say in yeah. Ubo say utie majority might not agree to maybe what is coming. Remember, say it is about yenshia na mema yenshia. And the spirit within which are sometimes enuanom ede kasa committee leaders and the spirit within which are committee leaders they responding no Michael sometimes I want to congregation now to the course na e na ya ho abeka say ye ne ehu nya ntokwa bi na ye dabi me hu ni sana it's bad and it's a basa.
Kwame, I think it's a very important point I want mention in terms of talking about the congregation. No, Romans 14. No, what I see is that Paul is talking about this issue in the context of individual Christians.
Yeah.
But say about asafo no dia. I know say it's the individuals that make up asafo no, but the ambassador mention say about asafo no. Now asafo no there are issues about these things. Won't make guys the verse and say the obiara because in the purpose, in the spirit of asafo no, we have to be united. Yeah, enema ebema odo atina yenti. When the make say oh Paul say obiara another esteem another day over another antino. And no the no. I was say asafo no tina say no mu say yes, this is what Paul said, but relating it to asafo no I was say ye discuss no be anya entiase mfa sa ne me hu na say in terms of in the spirit of experience in America no say be bo asafo na yenye say mu asafo no so dia ene yenya into ho na emfa kasa because Paul was dispute about these things, these doubtful things that may lead to arguments and all those kind of things no
yeah and until Michael make us say oh in a congregation say your elders na elders no ne asafuna kasa say nuanom based on ABCD ntino 31st we there yenji ntum say ye behia nti nuanom ye momoden na ye fa ye hu hye nyankopon sa say na ye kohia ye yabom pa ya da nyankopon ase e de ye hu hye nyankopon sa say if that was the decision that came wow on the opposite side a omo ka asa no nso me nya adwin bi say omo ka asa ni ntino ene omo first class ticket to hell. Mema yes, means ultimate asem na se a. The fact say obi nso ka say oh enne de ye hwe ye nhihye mu a ye ntimi nhia no. Menya timopo bone nso mfa sa nkofo ko no nso ho. Unfortunately, whenever I listen to the conversation on two sides now, I quite say obi mu tete hwe say eh muhia ya na we nhia. Meaning ultimacy a uko kase ye shia else hey ya chill no you show then and this is basa so uko kase meaning that make ultimacy a I don't che only I don't che only ya ye di komo on kan ya hu ozi oda ahomachi ana yo be sori akọ oh and so command so odio obeba beto ye obeba beto any edin common into the enter as
but my final examples is here I don't know meaning say if it is right to mention but yet it has is here no me I'm not even sure say bia me call any congregation bia na say na say mentimi ankwa I don't think say obi beka say now 31st you are not prayerful. You are not spiritual. No, that is not.
Intimi I say na me kan e ma mienu no. Who say na me ka say bi mu tete hwe say ukoya na wa nkwa. Ukoka say ukoya asem. Uka say wa nkon so a asem. Enti one mistake people make no. Many obi di nkomo. Last I think was it last year or so. Time ni do they prayed in the house. Onye from so. Obi also a time between wada. Ono so nya from so. One of the 31st night be told me, oh baby. Minia, ye koye evangelism, ye preach anajo no public preaching na ye bedu ya bre. Me team a phone call, some man for a free happy new year na enyane me. Mada.
You know, because me kaisa ba could be me joining Kenwest for it was the same thing that happened.
Yes, you call one of the regions.
The following day, no, New Year. Yeah, I'm got 31st beer. But I mean, I know. Kwame, I think no, I'm not supposed to say. Oh no, I'm not supposed to say. Even when you attend some of our congregations, I'm not supposed to say. Oh, maybe Akabe say 1.5 some minutes. You are watching, no, because one watch ye Diana. In fact, these are some of the issues with it.
Yes.
Obi bomb by and Obi bomb by no that around 11 watts and now 10 something. No, best sorry na we read 2024 one. I don't just or no na just said sometime na before no swa the problems no be good 2024 no. And another I was there mama 40 years said be ya omo so omo hu no say oh ye be kwa kwhia mo na church ne ya ti ase say ye be meet on 31st na ya do nyankopon ase edi akowura afefufo mu was so omo so mu hu say enye no na be sesa bibi say bia oh nipa na ono wan kono no obenya problems because wanya sade no but me amekoye no
Mike my shifting command ko one side na me read the comment ni bi hu say year bia ni mu nsem say yefa ne say afiwe enyema etoto wo no Michael say enyema etoto wo no na ye enyema eye so difficult enyema eye den enyema na wonti asie mu no na unim de ntia especially won say ye wenuanum bia they have chronic diseases yare na enko wako yare na nyankopon ye na dom na afimu within a month obi bua no na onya anu aduro na saa yare no make an say a subside because say chronic disease enkokra but abrase kra masisi ni hoto na otumi ye niema oye obi wo hono ma ofo car onya terrible accident bi anka nipa afemu de make an say nka otwase nka owu wanwu obi hono ma bibi to na busua na ebro adwene nti ase so anyankopon adom omo ho atom Michael, if you have experienced something like that within the course of the year, na you do 31st, na ye ba be see 1st December na. One way I want me na. And no, personal. Meaning how I mean chile and what that you feel say, hey, you way pa the me. Na me be ra afifu from no. It would definitely mean something new to you. And then I will come 2020 yeah be 2021 me tweet BB no me post BB on Facebook say and then Facebook for sending me a reminder and I'm entering my make coffee sauce me aban Facebook for reminder me sending me I just read my message again make I say you could do heaven in pa say you could do heaven as say you will be say you dim komo ye ni ye hu be dim komo de ye was as so a me makwa kofa san komo na ba say 2020 pa de ye o wiase. If you know what happened to people in people's lives when we are entering a new time it holds a special place to them say oh dear my bre me opportunity to start something new. I am saying say we shouldn't downplay such a person's conviction.
Yes.
That is my point. Because obi timi fan say oh nyahwe me wa also year na year you know kan nyankopon adoma anka woni ho enti ni nyina mu no ye hwetu na ya hwe de nyankopon se ne yen kasantra de twrosem no aka no ne nya ade entra de twrosem no aka enti de me kaka no minim say wo bibia de beka ho a yenya questions yenya comments
I think that is well said. But maybe we can move on to other nema to say bia one hour because share on that meetings no.
What happened?
Woye ne saa nema na ahwe say any Bible ne nti bia bit but you can read the comment and let's see if we can.
All right. Yeah, shall same fee Rhoda Jan on the kind in the comment bar first. Or say, is it wrong for people to sing solos in church on 31st night? But I need education on singing solos in church generally. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, read the comments ni na ni embra back on.
I should think so, yeah.
Right. Yenya Onyamede share. I'll say greetings to you all and may God bless you for this program. God bless you too for watching. Maybe be out here. Please let's hear from you. So here, leave us a comment. If you agree or disagree, it's fine. Let's have a conversation, please. Yeah, brother Isaac, I'll say this 31st is causing confusion among brethren. Why can't we put a stop to it? Okay, this one I can pass a comment on it. I think, say, Isaac, or say it's causing confusion among brethren. So why don't we stop it? Like, I didn't think I'm gonna enjoy having the 31st completely now and for confusion. Yeah, I think, say, the fact that we have disagreement on an issue doesn't mean, say, we should not do that particular thing at all. And that's why we are having this lesson. Yes, oh yeah, you have a clear conscience to either do it or not to do it. Isaac, yes, if your congregation decides to put a stop to it, that is fine. I know congregations, I have preached in congregations, they don't have any 31st night. It's perfectly okay. There's nothing wrong with it. They are right if they don't want to meet. It's a congregational decision. But if you have members there visiting other congregations and so forth, it is not a confusion. What you say, and yes, a confusion, it's a healthy one. Say, I don't get it. So let's try and explain. I don't think it's in the wrong direction. Yeah, brah. Obed, senior man say, interesting discussion, brethren. May God bless you. God bless you too, senior, for joining us. And we have a comment here. It's a very long one. Michael say, I think 31st December has become important in the affairs of mankind all over. The only thing is that we are careful as a church not to make it part of church observation or a religious service. Indeed, in the 80s, some churches in Christ, I believe Churches of Christ were against having services on 31st night in Ghana. However, it appeared that some members engaged themselves in activities that were considered unchristian, and so church leaders decided to fill in the vacuum by holding services on 31st December. And his message continues. Indeed, let me see if I can find the continuation. I'll say, indeed, it is. I think we didn't get the full comment. So if he can, yes, because wapanti, I am not able to see the rest. Please, if you can get me the last part, I'll be very happy. And so that's the comment from him. Say, yes, it has become important, but in the beginning, I think this one I commented on it when I started. Yes, even though in early times people were not observing it. No, you see, it's not a celebration. Michael, maybe you comment on it. It's not a celebration. Is it a celebration?
Okay. With regards to that, no, and now, I choose my my words carefully. Say, you can say celebration and now observation. Then the question is, what are we observing, or what are we celebrating, and how do we celebrate it? But in my simple mind, no, the amity as you say, to say ye ko on Friday, na ye ka say ye beda onyankopon ase e wo dia wire mind throughout the week, no. Now in this case, no, and in this situation, no, akoye say ye shia da nyankopon ase for the entire year. nneɛma esi ne saa de ade no. That is my understanding. I'm trying to be, but say if it comes to the fact say yeah wo ye nneɛma bi a yesusu say eno na wo ya na kyerɛ say you've really observed the 31st night there, then na wo say ye kokɔ saa nneɛma mu na you say okay sesi ano it's not just about I may be sound no say obi bisa about so obi bisa about solos na nneɛma different
solos the time my escaping say a bigger one into you best spend a chunk of time on it.
Okay. Into the ambassador say apart from solos na make no say nneɛma bi wɔ hɔ a man for ye almost say no na ye the observance of the 31st near there and no na eba be ye bibi to say celebration no. But if it is as usual meeting, we pray, we sing, we thank God, and that is all there, then I don't see how that becomes a celebration, because these are things that every for some churches every midweek activities, some are for Bible studies, some are for prayers, they do you understand? But say oh we a special something be I was at the end of the day saying and na me want to say and no bet me abeye to say I yet celebrate me
Mikey, I am very perfect. The any canon. I say me question I'm flipping say inti yefa say 22nd June church initiate mu ye all night service from dawn until the next morning. Pacho no observation and a celebration bay. It's just a church meeting to pray to thank God. You get it?
Exactly.
And just as you explained, if my brother liberty as here from that angle, I think say an observation as a celebration, but so okay say celebration observation now we in Yoma Bia. In Yoma Krona we on that day, whether say a Tuesday na you koko share for evening service in Pa. Michael said it to Bible.
Exactly.
Yes, something special. Say in the sense, say koko share my yentimi nya de etra nyankopon asem so. Ye bibi etra nyankopon asem so a. Yeti whether say ye 31st or ye 31st or ye 22nd or ye 1st of January or ye 2nd of January, o ye de nyankopon asem enkan ya. Yeti. Inti from that part no there. Yenshanin so pa yenshanin so. And there's a comment from Kadzamia. I think I don't know if I got the name right. Greetings, brethren. This issue is just simple understanding among ourselves. Okay. You think it's simple? Thank you very much. The branch I am now, we will not go today simply because we have discussed it among ourselves as a congregation and how we do it. One of the leaders stood in front of the whole church and we simply vote on a yes or no response. Those who say no won, and we simply and understandably agree because today too is Sunday and we are going to worship as required. So why they need to go and observe 31st again? No need so. Okay. That's a very beautiful understanding in the church though.
Exactly. Yes. So that is one of the very important scenario. Oh, the entire and say in their case, no, they understand say yeshia ya bompae and they are down Yankopon ase. And no name who say we don't have that kind of attachment bia as a elevated day to the point say anya na e kire say bibesi. Oh, say santi ase no wo ho and no dear then we know that okay, these are things that you bet me agree say you be shia na ya bompae and say yenye. But say kwakwe say and na make say bia you be kan ho asem because of a nonsense e bia change na e nekra e bi no bet me aka say okay, yeah ma sorry.
Oh yeah,
sorry. You be share maybe from
definitely. At least I know one person and one match chanopa or so about 31st night.
You see, when I can say because it means that you are placing some form of emphasis on that particular day.
It's not right. Yeah.
Yes, the idea and obey and from so say bra ye nyina asori na gia to mu say ye be hia this time anopa na we say nyina gia to mu nyankopon ya we say this congregation there ye hia this time no because of it there some extra 31st night bi a yɛpɛ sɛ yɛyɛ nti no what I say ɛwɔ sɛ ebinom ka sɛ bi a yɛmma asɔre anaasɛ yɛ na mmom yɛbɛba 31st no in that case na sɛ yɛayɛ ama 31st na abɛyɛ some idol bi anaasɛ biribi a
Michael, me twa no ewi ɛno nso na ɛwɔ sɛ yɛnuanom nso a who hold this view you should also be honest with yourself and change. In common yɛdi no ye twa ha ne ye twa ha. Woyɛ yɛnua a wotie yɛ ndɛ. Na sɛ in your understanding no, kyɛ sɛ 31st no, ebi mu po deɛ Michael abɛyɛ ɔmo te sɛ ɔmo nyame. Ɛno no ɛnyɛ. Yasema ye kano no yen inti ye kano by now me sure say ye ka ha kakra na obi na nya agi na ojubilate there be se obi wo hono ma enne se wankɔ ebo yi na wankɔ asɔre a ne homoa che se radi ma 31st night na manko ba bia anko bompa yi 31st inti because of that no you have some people who go to these denominations no more why because per se 35 yewura afefofo no Nyankopɔn enam nadiifo bi so enka nsɛm bi ngu na brabo so enti ukowura some churches of Christ mu a some preachers are forced to start doing some things be
say certain things, some positive things and all those kind of things.
Nyankopɔn abeka sɛ nyame ne kasa ya no baaye nti all the information bi anyame de man na no de bro ba oye say ye create sa atmosphere na ya anye careful pe ya fom and it is because we dey already last year 31st night me ne me auntie yanko ba bia ye ofie ye bom pa ye da Nyankopɔn ase say ye da na ase wo de wa ya amaye so aka ye ho be do this point and na me nua ye hwe one channel to another channel na untimi nsere Ode yen to ankomo no so. Comment bi ma sa banti ma me read the comment no. I say this is from Patrick. Patrick, thank you for always joining us. Interesting discourse. Years come and go. Our achievements and challenges does not come from the years because the Bible says for everything we should give thanks to God, lest we err in putting premium on years instead of God. It's a perfect one. Yeah. Okay. From Bismarck Dadzi, thank you for joining us all the time. To God bless you. Isaac Meza, thank you to Obed Morty, Kazamia, all of you. God bless you. Bismarck says, I think we must understand that days are amoral. Hey, bro, for ish,
bro, for bro.
Obeya, just your dictionary. Therefore, there is not special something about 31st. We must rather learn to be grateful to God daily, and more education must be done on the above. God bless you, brethren. Michael Amora na se chire ni say na yesa nsem na kan na hwa na manti ase yi
o. Dia meti ase menhwe Bible me say Bible menhwe dictionary mu die ba. De meti ase ni say ti say bia wontimi nka say eda ye eda bone eda ye eda papa. Say day ni de no enye nipa eye da e wo ho. Nti de ye be ye wo sa day mu na ebe ma day na ye da bone ana say da papa. I think that's what he's trying to do.
Senior high school ben acquire.
Except go college.
Ose men yama Mr. Saki me video no. Yes, obeka say bro for ma fa anya hwe.
Na amo
Mr. Mamintie pronunciation na ochina bi. Hey. Amoral. Okay. Yeah, say amoral. Nti wa be hwe no wasua brofo enne. Yeah, that's so wa kire brofo yenia. Obed Sadibai say, I was always afraid to sleep at night on 31st December because I believed I would miss out on the blessings the angels would pour down at midnight. Thanks for this liberation. I can now sleep in peace if I choose to. Hey, Azemo. Obeza ono de ono no usuru so obeda. Anya onkwa na usuru. Nipa bebre esuru say obeda sa time because of feel say but if you are and this is I think Paul mentioned something like this. If your conscience it's about the conscience, right? Sometimes obi ono ma yaka ntino say ndem nko otifie sa na ne ko say na nko asore nko mini asore ne ko.
Say Romans 14, one say okase, let him be convinced in his mind.
Yeah.
What you say? Now what if you say wonko fine? Me say no. Okay, enti na wudi kan kai. Me say me man kwa hwe nyame. What you say? Ade. And one thing, no, let's stress on this point to the point that, like I was saying, say sometimes, for instance, my example, say church here, congregation here, omo anhia no. Wo dey fan say anka nye say na ye holiday a. Na obeye wako church and there Sunday wako eti wo betimi adanyankopon ase na wasa ba enumre no na wana obe sorry the following day akwa ejuma no na because of enunti no wako ejuma na afa dia wo mi ye ejuma wo da ne sa ne ma ne eno so nya wo nyankopon anim what you say nti some of them man wo say fa chichire ye ho to the extent say anye 31st na che say what you say and another thing is say oh, I said my losing thoughts in the kakra, but all to us make I me the count.
And maybe Michael, the next 20 minutes and 15 minutes a day, you bet me I comment we able lead towards in general in Ghana no 31st night no the craze around it any day Emma and the IGB crampo the instruction about say we now question prophecy death prophecy you bet you automatically then your main for death prophecy be man. I mean, quote unquote, it's not true. These are false prophets trying to lie to people. No more dada and this comment came in. Say, unfortunately, some preachers have started making declarations for the coming year on 31st night. Is it Church of Christ or denomination?
I think he's referring to. No, he's referring to the church because Patrick is much aware of what these denominations do. I think he's trying to. Yes.
Wow. If that is the case, then it's absolutely wrong.
You know
the argument somebody will give right now. Declaration or because the declaration is saying that the year will be a good year.
Yeah. But also most of the times, no, yes, for most people, no communicating these things, no. I say onyankopon the message be ama na we no mo de emma say yeah no say ni and this is not this is not so different from someone who come and tell you that in the next year you no ebia we be say atem we be ba we so and it's after all omo be ka say onyankopon yi chiro mo say de be ya they can say it na o nipa no o be ba omo ho ana say o be ye de e wa say we ye na sa asem no emma wo so no. So we just have to because then and then Emma ebe bibia any nyankopon asem because if you a preacher will not do same thing on other Sundays I twem wako other 31st you want to na ho na wo yes ane maneme and hypocrisy be wrong
and there me no yade yemre no ko enti minim se bibibie wo ho no mo a odi be ka ho na comment question or comment or question betimi dia ba na yedi ho nkomo anyesa Michael se bibi wo ha me wo announcement quick announcement a meye na yedi nkomo no esi
okwan meet me akasa
patron
enti dia me pese me dey try to understand say ye hu in terms of the church no and in denominational word ni nyina enim and them man for almost time on 31st night na been more to anointing oil no money san man said the be also fu be share nkomo abrabo so na 2024 akọ so ana ayeyi amom no the truth in that say ya brabo a be 2024 no ene onyankopon asem nko na eti boni bi mu we are not ready to correct all the mistakes we made in 2023 the year will not miraculously said the young brother na kan no ye ne de wo ho ba wo de a be na be kire se mpuntu anan koso e na onyankopon ne pe ene se de onyankopon esi ebe grant wo no ene be ye ho enti say wodi sa dia wo hwe sorry bia na declarations ni decrees no mo ne prophetic again na wakototo oil ni sa ne manema no moma yentwe ho efri sa ne man so esan se be yesa pe na akoye se yede yenhwe mom ayeden ahyehye sa ne nti moma yen take note of this thing said be ya ma amanfo emfa because ye 31st na enra me ka asem bi fa article bi a one guy your friend James Kwanzaa modern Ghana on my site no I think as at 2019 o said me nkai year no na the okai said to the extent say ebinum mpo etimi ye no to mane ko si say 31st no one banner sofo no or shall into the new year now na say what you we lose kra enti
me was a comment was me read ma
edi ehu bi hye amanfo mu said e be ya chinchina na chi e wo so mo ye de omo ba 31st unfortunately omo course 31st now I feel no be ye special offering sowing of seeds any sikagie bi a wo hwe bible mu a ene onyankopon asem nko no e ho no mo benya because that day no at least omo ntama no on beba enti ye benya don bedre enti this is the time for us to also take all these offerings and those things from them and na nyankopon asem enti na afensu no say church brothers ne ombe ka say oh ye pese hia na eda onyankopon asia e wo say ye stress mo mu hu say 31st doesn't change all the rules or the rules that govern worship yet me ka say
please stress that again stress that point again
yeah the person me tell say weekdays no say ye be hia and as simple on Sundays ye be hia na enim say na esom no e wo so kwa according to the onyankopon asema aka na the first say 31st no it doesn't change it say 31st there oh muma yenye say entertainment na pese ya we can always organize it say bia oh this church want to do an entertainment program and but so far as I see we are coming to worship we are coming to worship the fact that is 31st doesn't mean that let us turn it into some semi worship semi entertainment no and not yet. And now I think that will tie in with the question our sister asked about solos Nisa and
Nema. You just brought it back and I was going to read it. I just submitted it. Yeah.
Yes, and my main media or solos no said the medical kind no. I think when we read the you can say 1 Corinthians 14 and nema na Paul eka nyina no ekosi say bibibia ebe no yenya for den edification say ebe building up brethren no na enye about yen personal ebia de pe ana esan say ye wo hwe in the case of 1 Corinthians 14 na esan say with me cartons no esan say with me interpret ni nchire say I will say we bibia keke or you just have to express it but rather for edification yenim say in our case no Bible amayati say we don't have these miraculous abilities but I'm borrowing that principle to let us know say I will say bibia for edification in 1 Corinthians 10 or can the same thing 1 Corinthians 11 or start stressing the same thing say it's say for the edification it doesn't become individual and personal things whether this one can do this or that and yet now solos no say every regular Sunday we don't call people to come and stand or every midweek activities we don't call people to come and stand and sing solos and the other thing 31st you be invited there dance say on be singing solo no what do we get from that? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Exactly. Now the issue about solos I think that in one of our discussions about instrumental music we've discussed solos. Singing in the church is a way that is done where we speak to one another. Colossians 3:16, Ephesians 5:19 no enyomo to awoto na menso meto enye se onipa bi to na memete ho na metie. In that sense, it doesn't fall into the New Testament pattern of the way we are supposed to sing in the church. So say yetie no ase na say other days and other midweek activities then why would we want to do it on 31st? That is the question that was say yebisa ye ho. Enti enne man be ye say sisi ano ya elevated 31st na ye say no some special celebration which is wrong because in the worship no enye about display of talent na enye about what someone can do and what someone cannot do enyum to ayeto no ye kasa kire ye ho and it is ye nyina na ye enti there is no need for these solos and those things amanfoɔ ɛyɛ a ɛde keka ho no. Nti that's what I can say. I think that you have a lot, but said that maybe we may have a separate idea, because she said she wants us to discuss solos generally.
Generally, yes. So I think say I'll recommend one video I did on Spotlight, music in the church. There's a video like that. We did a video like that, music in the church. So it covers the solos, the choirs, and singing groups in general. So, but the passages you mentioned, I'll just want to throw a little light on it. There, Ephesians 5:19. Yes, it says, speaking to one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord, giving thanks always for all things to God the Father in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, submitting to one another in the fear of God. When you pick all the 3 verses, every action that you see there is one to another.
Yeah.
So sometimes, when we read this verse, be more than almost okay, maybe ya na ye pese ye chenchene ne ye kasa ye be share nyina ye ntonum na enye nipa ba ko bi ne kodina ni. All the commands na were from verse 19 to verse 21 nyina one to another. And if you have listened to any of our explanations on musical instruments, one thing we say is that if God wanted the church to use musical instruments, based on Ephesians 5:19, then each member should be holding musical instruments in their hand to be playing that instrument, because it says, when you look at both the English language, the Greek itself, all the tenses that was used, everything here suggests that it is something you do one to another. So I do it, you do it. You do it, I do it. So it doesn't give room for a performance. Like a theater, audience. It doesn't give that room for a performer and an audience. We are all the performers. May perform, oh yeah, may yeah. That is the instruction in Ephesians 5:19 to verse number 21. And to look at the first one, you speak to one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs. That's the singing. Number 2, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord. 20, giving thanks always for all things to God the Father in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Submitting to one another. Not one party submitting to the other, but it is like that. Auntie say, yes, sister, I believe it's a sister. Yes, Rhoda Jan. Yes.
Rhoda Jan, yeah.
That should answer it. Say one to another. So when the church comes together to worship in music, in singing, it's congregational. It's not a performance where one person comes to show off the talent and we all go along. No, that is not it. That is not it. Okay. Michael, 20 minutes. I'm 2 minutes per. Okay. I don't know if you have any other comments, any other thing to add.
Nti dia make an say say ba sa discussions here say yenyen dru baby a church no ama meka in terms of some local congregations no omo be nyomo omonti ase ne sana. Let us take time when we are discussing some of these issues, because sometimes understanding no emma ene video ya bia no etam mo come ebi obi wo ho a 31st you are fan World Cup and as we are fan some way bi a time will come over video you obey both sides of the arguments. Obet now because sana sad in the way I'm a fan and then was a addition nkakra said the bear in the end no young for fabi be embeto ye hoso wo enye bible na share chinchin say enye de yenye and I feel to say bit mo so omo hwe no mo ka say based on their asafo no I decide e pese shana ye bompire. Yes, so we will not begrudge them, and I am and non draw lines between fellowship with them. No, and that's an EBS idea. Now I say, yeah, mass and the man mumu atite sa ayong fana ye wo Christo muno and no nyankopo ansem emfwa. So that is what I can say.
Yeah, that's okay. Let me do this quick announcement. Then nyankopo ya aduma beginning from January, which is already, Michael, the good thing is that more countries be to say China, Asia, ne Malaysia,
Yeah.
omo nti ever say China, obi or China no you January nti wo ka 31st on we January mu dada.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And starting when we get to the new year, no, which is tomorrow onwards, Spotlight on the Word, your monthly journal, no, the first maiden edition will be out, and it's I honestly I can't wait to share this journal with everybody, Michael. And I've spent so much time on this particular journal, like going through it, looking at the editing and looking at the design and everything. Bro, I can't wait to read it again in a hard copy form. So we are excited to share it with you. And the theme for the January edition is the Gospel of Christ. The Gospel of Christ. So the Spotlight Journal, no, yeah, theme for it, or our general theme all the time, is that we want to put that spotlight on some key informations, especially apologetics issues. We'll talk about daily Christian living. We'll do in-depth, and that is a special feature. When you get our journal, you will see that there's that special feature called Spotlight on the Verse, or it's a detailed analysis where you are looking at the verse. That is one of my favorite parts of the journal. There are some surprises in the journal I won't talk about. When you get it yourself, you get to see that special features in there. If you're a Bible lover, you would love this journal as well. And we have Christian apologetics. We will also talk about historical and present brotherhood issues. Also, sometimes, Michael, I say about church in Ghana, Africa, in the world now. You want to know, okay, what does the Bible say about this? Sometimes it looks like preachers will be arguing about it, and you don't know the two sides of the issue.
Yeah.
As and when those issues come up now, in our journal, we put the two views there, analyze it biblically. And one key feature about our articles and about our journal is that it is professionally made. What it means is that if you look at the academic aspect of it, where we are looking at grammar, where we are looking at referencing, top tier. This one there, I'll give it to the production, top tier. So please, when you get it, go through it, and it's free. Soft copy is free. You can fill a form. We have a form. You fill it, or you send us a message on WhatsApp. You can get access to the journal. Maybe you want to contact us so you can have access to it too. Let me put it here. Send us an email here. Spotlightcoc at gmail.coc1@gmail.com. But when we start the new year, we would also bring our new email account, which is info@spotlightontheword.com. But that is later on. But for now, any email, if you want it in your email free of charge, please, you can send us an email and we will get it to you when it's ready. In the first week of January, because tomorrow is a holiday, we all have families, you have to take some time out. So I also have to go out. I also have to take time off. So yeah, so tomorrow, no messages. Don't send me any message. I won't see it. Yes. So please, after tomorrow, hopefully, if God permits, you can send the email in. We have received about 56 requests for it. So Mama, send your email, Lydia. We'll send it to you. So please take note. And our website will also, within the week, when you go to our website, www.spotlightontheword.com, you are going to see new things. We have updated the interface. www.spotlightontheword.com. Under construction. Intentional, because the journal need to hold on any BBR account within the week. Now, both the website, any journal, you will see everything on the website. In case you don't send us your email, you get it here too. So once again, and our preachers are the ones writing this, Michael. Church of Christ preachers, Ghana, and later on we will extend it to Nigeria, hopefully we get brethren from different parts of the world to also write in our journal. And like I said, later on in the future, you can send us manuscripts. Let's say you want us to feature your article in the journal. Odeba, we have an editor. He's very good. He will examine it. If it's not academically correct, yeah, or grammar, a lot of mistakes, I will help you correct them. But yeah, from it to yeah, journal, you know. Yes, and aside that, and so no, if you want to send us your manuscript for us to examine, then later publish for you to, that is also allowed. Just that, like I said, we have a very strict criteria. You better examine it thoroughly, scripturally, academically. BBI was say efa sanfa yentimi famba. Inti ya deba na obia who say ye bojuma kakra na abuama in terms of written literature and so ye betumi enya. Hopefully, we want to add printouts, but the printouts is only left for people who place a request for it, so that you can share it with your corporate friends at work. Maybe you have a family, you want to get a copy for your family. All that is being done. Until when the printout aspect is ready, we would let you also have it. But that one, obviously, it cannot be for free. Because if we get people who pay for it, Michael insists, if we get sponsors for it, they are, and we should make it free, which I agree.
Yeah.
But until we have enough sponsors to make it free, for now, the printout, open hard copy, apologetic press for Kraton Bible, and I just signed it to Michael. And so, and it's not for profit. I mean, it's just the printout. If you want the printout, then you get a printout. But I don't really care if you get a printout or not. If you want the soft copy, you can still go and print it yourself. I don't care. You can get it. But if you are in a corporate world like Michael Muse, pharmacist, mo boss, and say, Pacho, this is our journal. We want you to read it. Michael say, oh, order FedEx, any DHL, or mobile deliver nicely, nice package. Now I'm going to tell you yeah, that's it. That is the Spotlight Journal, and we've been working on it, and I hope that within the week, obviously not tomorrow, because tomorrow, dear, I'm off. Michael, tell Anochi say tomorrow I'm off, no work. So, okay, thank you very much. And till we meet again, my name is Derek Danso, and I did this program with my friend and my brother Michael Anan Kasukosi. Thank you, and God bless you. Till we meet again next year, 2024.
Yes,
Bye bye.